And of course, the last way in which you can do it is start with a strong quote, which is connected to the subject that you're talking about. The only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. This is a message that I want all of you all to remember as we deal with what feels like trying times with the organization that I will talk to you about today, right? So often starting with a very, very powerful quote is another way in which you can grab attention, right? So these are 6 ways for you to grab attention right at the start. There are beautiful ways that we've suggested. Share a personal anecdote on how you got involved in the topic, show a hard hitting fact or statistic, ask a provocative question, share a story from a movie, show, or mythology, introduce a hypothetical scenario, and ask the audience to imagine something or think what if, right? And what the think of what if really means, what if we could make 60 lakh of our customers happy every year, right? What if we could do that? So that's the way you could use what if things. Now, one of the things that I want you all to, we haven't added this exercise here. I actually just thought of it, and Arunima, ensure that you add it in our coaching session. I want you to, each one of y'all, to pause the video here and think of a presentation that you've made in the past and try using each one of these 6 attention grabbers for that one presentation that you used in the past, right? So try each one of them and see whether it works. If you're somebody that makes a lot of presentations, and if you have more than one presentation already with you, try doing this for ideally 2, but if you don't have to, at least do it for 1, and ensure that you show what you've done and discuss it with your coach during your live one-on-one coaching with him, right? So pause the video here, think of that presentation and do it right now, because if you don't do it right now, this is something which is fresh in your mind. So if you do it now, it's going to help you a lot more, but at least by the time you go for the coaching session, do it for sure then, right? Now we're done with the start and introduction. We discussed 3 things with you. We discussed introducing yourself and the company. We discussed setting the context by telling them the objective, the solution, and also showing them the outline or agenda. And then we said the third thing that you can possibly do at the start is say something that is attention grabbing. And we've given you 6 techniques to do that, right? After you've done that, you get to the body of the presentation, right? Now, the body of the presentation is basically, let me just draw the McKinsey for you. We said to be clear on what the objective is or the solution. Then after that, ensure that you introduce yourself, give some context that we already kind of discussed there, right? And sometimes beyond this, you could also give some, the context could include giving some background about the subject that you're going to talk about as well, right? So that's something else that you can do. And then after you've given some background or context of what you're going to talk about in that subject, then we said divide your content into 3 parts, and then in turn ABC, ABC, and ABC, right? That's what you need to do. Now, the body of the presentation should meet the promises of the purpose and information made in the introduction, right? So you said, this is my objective. This needs to be in line with what you're saying, right? Clearly segment the topics, different topics you will be discussing in the presentations, work your way through them one at a time. So we said, we've mentioned this in the McKinsey model. I'm repeating it here. So where you need to say, this is my point number 1, and it needs to be very clear that you're talking about point number 1 to your audience. When you're done with point number 1, there literally needs to be like, I wouldn't say Chinese wall, but there needs to be a like clear demarcation, and we're going to show you how to do those clear demarcation. There needs to be a clear demarcation where there you see, okay, now we're moving on to point number 2. After you're done with point number 2 and whatever you say, now we're moving on to point number 3. After you're done with your 3 points, and if before you go to your conclusion, you need to be, or your summary, you need to be clear that, okay, I'm moving on to my conclusion now, right? So clearly segment the different topics that you'll be discussing in your presentation. Organize your key points chronologically by priority or theme. So this is something that was discussed with you in McKinsey already. So you can have 1, 2, 3. You can prioritize them in terms of logic. Say this comes first, this comes second, this comes third, or it could be in terms of importance.